You are listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live. Hello, welcome back to the Claret and Blue podcast. My name is Dan Rolinson. I'm joined by our Villa reporter Ashley Preece. Ash, how are you, mate?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, just the heavens have opened near me. So it's a bit of a grey day out there, isn't it? But all good, mate. Yeah, moved on from the Man U debacle now. And the games are coming thick and fast. Is it 4 games in 11 days, something like that? And it's all done and dusted. So yeah, it's quick turnaround.
Yeah, I'll say we've moved on from Man United, but we'll touch on that briefly because obviously you went on the post-match podcast that we did the other day. You were there as well at Villa Park. How did you see that game? Were you as frustrated as I was at the end of it?
Yeah, I was really impressed with the first half, to be honest. But it's like it's run out of steam, to be fair. And that penalty decision, Douglas Luiz, that change of game that killed Villa off. Once United had the tails up and they scored back-to-back goals in quick succession, that was it. Game done. Go on about the Watkins decision at the end, but over the course of the 90 minutes, Villa didn't do enough to win the game, in fact. So yeah, Villa killed themselves with that silly mistake just after half-time, and it was a long way back from there.
We're going to do a bit of a Q&A episode today. Obviously, we're streaming this live on Facebook at the moment, so if anyone's got any questions for Ash, you can put them in the comments box below, but we've got loads from Twitter to go through. They're in no particular order, so this is probably going to be a bit of a random episode. We'll start with some news that's just come out from Mike McGrath at the Telegraph, I think it was. So my mistake if that's wrong. Yeah. He says that Tom Heaton linked with Man United, so we'll stick with Manchester, and sign there as a free agent this summer. And it's probably likely that he will leave, with Emi Martinez being our number one, but it's a good goalkeeper to let go and means that Villa probably need to bring in another reserve goalkeeper in the summer, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Heaton's what now, 34, 35? He only signed a 2-year deal, which I've spoken about before. I was quite shocked at that when he signed for £8 million back in the summer of 2019, just a 2-year contract. It's quite rare that players only sign 2 years, but that was the case. Unfortunately, with injury, Tom Heaton, I thought he was brilliant when he first come in, ruptured his knee ligaments, and been a long way back since. And Emi Martinez has been the signing of the season for me. Not just for Villa, but in the Premier League, perhaps.
Yeah, I agree.
He's been absolutely outstanding. So, yeah, it's a sad way to end his Villa career with that United move, looking at real possibility now. So, good luck to him if he does decide to go. I've been told Villa do want to keep him. Villa have offered him a new contract, but with his first-team chances limited, I think he's going to move on to pastures new. But regards to your question, Dan, will Villa sign a new goalkeeper? I think so. They'll have a look at the market. I think Jed Steer, I've seen him in action the other week for the 23s. He's still sharp as anything. So he's really good. He's been a good servant, hasn't he, Jed Steer? I think it's 2 years today since his heroics against Albion in the playoffs at Villa Park. So, yeah, Jed Steer will stick around. I think Lovre Kalinic, I think he'll go back out to Croatia on a permanent deal. He's doing really, really good things for Hajduk Split. He's back in the Croatian national team now, but I think his Villa future's over. So yeah, that leaves Villa with a bit of a predicament. They'll promote a couple of the younger lads in pre-season, Dan, the likes of Ilyami Sinisalo and Akos Anodi, but I think that'll be 23 goalkeepers, with one of them going out on loan. I think there's room for another one to come in and challenge Martinez and Steer perhaps. So yeah, I think that's something Villa were looking to replenishing Heaton's position.
Yeah, good stuff. You also wouldn't begrudge Heaton that move to Man United either, would you? If he's going to be back up at Villa or back up at Man United, you'd take the opportunity of being in a squad that's going to be challenging for trophies. And it's weird, really, because you look at Tom Heaton and go, yeah, good, great goalkeeper, thanks for his service at Villa, etc. But he's not been here that long. He only played half a season. But a good goalkeeper, and you wish him all the best.
He's got a good chance at United, to get in there. I mean, De Gea's not fancied at the moment. He might be, I think he's taken with the move to PSG. And Dean Henderson was a bit shaky for me on Sunday against Villa. A couple of times, Ollie Watkins and McGinn pressed him and he kicked the ball out of play. So there could be an opening for Heaton. That's where he started his career. It could be full circle for him. And who knows if Henderson gets an injury, he's Man U's number one, so he can't begrudge him for that.
We'll stick with the contracts that are expiring this summer. You got Elmo, Neil Taylor. I think there's one more as well, but I've not written my notes down properly, so I might be mistaken there. Neil Taylor, the one today, being linked with a couple of Championship clubs, Stoke City being one of them. There's not really any chance of those having their Villa contracts extended, is there? And they'll move on, and that'll be that for them. Do you think?
I think so. I think again, it's begrudgingly really because they're so key behind the scenes. Dee Smith and the staff love them pair, Elmo and Taylor. Been part of the fabric for a while now, part of the playoff heroics in 2019. And that little playoff teams disbanding, isn't it? Horahan will probably head out again. So, changing the guard, as it were. But in terms of Taylor, he's still only 32, so he's got a couple of years in playing days left. He's doing his coaching badge at Bodymoor Heath at the moment. He remains a massive figure behind the scenes with the academy lads, and he's a sounding board for Smith and them. So I think he'll go into coaching. I think Villa might offer him a coaching deal, perhaps, but I think he's got a couple of years left in him. Stoke City, the latest club mentioned, I think that could suit him. He can play with Manchester up at Stoke, so that could work for him. As for Elmo, I spoke to somebody's representative last week. Villa haven't offered him a new deal as yet, so that'll be discussed in the summer. Another brilliant servant, £1 million. He's done really well. He's played in a number of positions for Villa, centre half this season. Don't forget in the cup. It'd be sad to see them go. They've amassed over 100 appearances between them. Really good stalwarts for the club, and I think they will move on based on their ages and the fact Villa are pushing into bigger and better things. Dan, yeah.
When you list Elmo, Taylor, and Heaton there as three aging players and players that are back up to the Villa's first team now with Martinez, Cash, and Target, what do you do to replace those three, or not those three specifically, but aging players in squads? What do you do with those now? Do you try and sign people to knock out the first team, or are we now at a position where Target, Cash, and Martinez are as good as we're going to get, and you replace those aging players with youngsters?
It's interesting, yeah. I think Martinez, Target, they're the best you're going to get in that position. Target's been brilliant this season, knocking on the England door. There's not many better than Martinez. I think I've told you this before. I think left back, they'll need to replenish Taylor's position. I think they need someone to push Target. He hasn't had that competition this season. And Matty Cash, I think Dean Smith thinks a lot of him. Hence why he bought him for £14 million last summer. There's a lot of growing to do. He's not the finished article by any means, Matty Cash. He's been up and down this year, but mainly up. So he'll look for a stronger season next season. But I think them three mentioned that I think they'll start the opening game of the season on August 14th. I think they're nailed on to start. I think we'll need to bring a few in to make that squad depth a bit better, keep players pushing each other. Will Gilbert come back? The addition needs to be made there. Kane Kester's really, really impressive for the 23s. People have told me he's ready to step up to first team duties. He has been sticking out for the 23s, scoring for fun from right back. So I think right back could be fine. All depends on Gilbert in terms of that sense. Will Strasbourg make that permanent? Will he attract interest from other clubs in Ligue 1? Don't know. But listen, I think left back's a position that needs filling. But other than that, I think they're fine, Villa, in that sense. Just asking those who are watching, what positions would you like to see? For me, obviously, further end, the final third of the pitch, Villa needs to be a bit more quality, a bit more pedigree up there. So that's where we're going with it, Dan. I think be more attacking intent in this summer window.
Yeah, we'll come on to the rest of the squad later in this podcast. Another player I wanted to talk about was Douglas Luiz. More reports from the Telegraph, if I get my words out, saying that Manchester, Christ, all over the place here. Man City, it's only water, I promise. Man City aren't interested in a buyback clause in Pep Guardiola. Oh God, in Douglas Luiz. Pep Guardiola is not interested in a buyback clause of Douglas Luiz, according to the Telegraph. Right, finally got it out. Talk about Douglas Luiz a little bit. A few questions on Twitter saying, is it time to drop him? Is it time to rotate? Is he someone that we want to be building the side around, or should he be replaced in the summer? Now, I spoke about it on the podcast we did after Man United, saying I think if Villa want to reach the top six, if that's their aim for next season, I'm not 100% convinced whether Douglas Luiz starts games, especially in the role that he's playing at the moment. Now, people who watched that podcast commented saying, I'm just being too harsh, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. Somebody said that I needed to provide names to replace him with if I'm just saying get rid of him. It's not my job to scout players. I've not got names for you, but I don't think he's the pedigree of top six. I don't think he's consistent enough for that. Happily be proved wrong, but that's just my opinion. So first of all, I want to get your opinion on Douglas Luiz. Secondly, following up to that, as I said, I stand by my opinion that I don't think he's top six level for Villa consistently over a season, if that's where Villa want to be, sorry. But that doesn't mean you can then go and abuse him on social media, which is what we saw after the Manchester United game, of people sending him vile abuse, and he came back and spoke about that. So if you just want to summarise your thoughts on Douglas Luiz after I've waffled there and finally got my way through that point.
I really like him. I might surprise a few, but I think he's a player. The only problem he's got, he's only 23. He's still young, still a rough diamond for me. look at his debut at Villa Park, that goal against Bournemouth. You don't score goals like that if you're no good. That's a long time ago. But he's still feeling his way into his Villa career. He's only 23. Pep Guardiola wanted to get him from Vasco da Gama. Pep knows a player when he sees one.
Yeah,
I asked Pep about him the other week as well. He loves him, loves everything about him. But just things aren't going Villa's way at the minute in terms of just performances. So a lot of players are going to suffer in that sense, aren't they? And McGinn hasn't been ripping it up for me as well. So that midfield department has been a bit lacklustre over the recent weeks, and Douglas Luiz has fallen into that. I do think he needs to come out of the 11. I think he needs a bit of a rest. He's been Smith's go-to man for a lot of this season when performances has been going really well or they haven't. But I like him. I think he's a Europa League pedigree player. I think Villa think highly of him enough. £15 million for a Brazilian international. He's really good, and I'm pleased Man City won't be exercising that buyback option. But yeah, I think his performances have dipped below the required standard of late. There's no denying that. I think maybe it'll benefit coming out of the 11 just to get that respite he needs. Maybe chuck Jacob Ramsey in there for a bit. Nothing to lose now. Got Kylie Chuck Moika, who's making strides for the 23s. He's amongst the first team again. And yeah, so I like Douglas. Regarding the antics on Sunday, it's quite refreshing to see a player with a bit of personality fighting back. Yes, he said everyone said he won't be best pleased with the abuse he got given. But listen, he's a 23-year-old kid. He said himself, he's still learning. It didn't mean for that to happen. A bit of naivety. Everyone make mistakes. I make mistakes every day. So there you go. I think he'll look how important he was last season as well. That Project Restart, he's Villa's best player for that. So you're going to give it, like I say, Villa have been inconsistent this calendar year. And Douglas Luiz has been no different. So he'll have a good summer behind him. I think he'll be a starter going into next season. But I think Villa do need to bolster that midfield area, Dan, for sure.
Do you think, I mean, that's a fair response to my argument that I don't think he's good enough. And this is the beauty of football, isn't it? That we've both got an opinion. We sit here as Villa fans watching the same game. I don't think he's that level. You do. Phil just said, look how many mistakes Dan just made. I made a mistake even saying that comment.
That's all abusing, quick.
Yeah, well, yeah, please don't. And who am I to sit here as a 25-year-old journalist or whatever you want to call it and criticise a footballer? I don't know. I don't know how to play the game to the level that a professional footballer does, but the opinion I've got is different to other people, and that's just how it goes. It doesn't mean that you can then go online and abuse somebody for it.
Exactly.
You said there that you think he is a player, but his performances have dipped. Do you think that's just due to the system that Villa are playing? Do you think he's playing the correct role?
It's a really interesting point you make down there. What is he? Is he a 6? Is he an 8? What is he? Pep spoke about his physicality, big, strong as in his core strong. He's strong to hold off the ball, but in stature, is he that player who breaks the play up? I think he's better on. He's good on the ball for me. I think he twists his turns out, getting out of possession, and he's got a goal in him whenever he's high up that pitch. You've seen his shot on him last season. He hasn't scored enough for me, but he's been playing a lot deeper, hasn't he, alongside McGinn? So, yeah, I think positioning-wise, that's something Villa need to look at. Smith works with him day in day out, so he knows what's best. But I'd like to see him a little bit higher, because when Grealish plays, for example, them two link up really nicely. So that tends to happen when players are good upstairs as well. So I'd like to see him a bit higher, but he's a good player. I think he needs to go a bit forward a bit more. We've seen that on Sunday against Manchester United. He was squeezing Wan-Bissaka in the corner at one point to leave him McGinn to worry about Bruno Fernandes. I'd like to see that a bit more. Douglas Luiz on the edge of the box, I think you'd fancy him. I really do. So I'd like to see the shackles off him a little bit more. The only reason he's played that this season because of the lack of options Smith has got. There's only a Canberra in there who can play his position, and he hasn't been trusted to start week in, week out. So if Douglas has got Smith's trust, Smith's a good judge of character. So let's go with it. But I do, like I said, that position needs bolstering. I think we need more options in there. What has Morgan Sanson got to bring to the table? I've forgotten man, isn't he, really? Yeah. 14 million quid from Marseille. I'm expecting big things from him next season once he's fully fit again. Villa went out the way to get him 6 months ahead of schedule. So they'll think a lot about him. So, yeah, it's an exciting prospect. Douglas Luiz is only 23. The squad on the whole is very young. It's the youngest in the Premier League, average age. So they're going to grow bigger. So they could grow better together. So, it bodes well. I think that's why Smith's not playing the likes of Philogene, Bedice and Chuck Week. I said, listen, I've got the youngest average age squad in the league at the minute. I need cash to play. I need players to carry on playing for their development. Watkins, it's his first season in the Premier League, and he's to play. But so yeah, there's plenty of options on the table. I think this Villa team's there to grow. I think Smith spoke about his recruitment policy this week. I think Villa will be buying young again.
I think just on the midfield, when you go back to talking about Douglas Luiz there, I think you can replace Douglas Luiz with the name John McGinn, and that's part of the problem. I don't think either of them are playing their correct role. I think they're both better pushed further forward. Yeah. McGinn and Luiz, but there isn't a proper holding midfielder to play there. And if you're going to play 4-3-3, I think you need a dedicated sitter to play alongside those two if they're both playing together. I think Douglas Luiz or McGinn having to be slightly more defensive of the two on occasion doesn't put them in the best light, and that's maybe why I sit here as a fan that doesn't read the game properly. If that's what the problem is, and thinks, Douglas Luiz isn't doing it for me. But if he's not playing the correct role, that's not his fault.
Look at Villa's style. A lot of emphasis on the wings. They go down the wings. Ollie Watkins runs the channel. Mings clips it over to him. And the midfield relying a lot of the time on second balls, aren't they? So they're not going for the midfield. When's the last time you've seen a cute through ball played through to Watkins?
When Jack played last.
When Jack played last, exactly. It just doesn't happen without Jack. So they've gone to play with width, and they've gone to try and ping back the opposition fullbacks and getting down the sides and cut it back to Watkins in that way. And Traore scored a lovely goal from off the flank the other night as well. So they've been going down that way, and the midfield's been missed out, hasn't it, really, to be fair? El Ghazi scored one from cutting in at Goodison Park as well. So you very rarely see Villa play through the midfield, play through the thirds. They like to play in the opposition half more so than not, and try and force them into errors, which we've seen. So yeah, the midfield's been bypassed, and obviously McGinn, Douglas, they're going to suffer.
I saw a poll on Twitter before we came on air about next season's aims and what the target should be. I'll get your answer first before I flash the results up on screen. There was 3,500 votes on social media. So top 6, top 8, top half, or just staying up with the 4 options on Twitter. What would your aim be for next season? What do you think Villa need to achieve to count it as a success? Smith
had an interview with Sky Sports last week, and first time this season, he said we aim for 12th this season, which was quite interesting. He's never said that before. He just said finish as high as possible, but he told Sky the aim this season was finish 12th. Wasn't happy finishing 17th last season, so they look like they're going to hit the target. They're going to get 12th this season at least, hopefully. Next season, Smith spoke about it. He was asked about by the Sunday papers last week about the owner's ambition, and he said Champions League, challenging Champions League place and Premier League. So the owner's got big ambitions for the club. So I think they're going to be knocking on the top 6 door. I really do. They want to make that jump. They've just missed out on it this season. I think just before Jack Grealish was injured, they were 4 points off the top 4, something like that. They was knocking on the door, weren't they? And just fizzled out. It's coincided with Villa losing Grealish, the best player. And had he been fit for these last 12 games, they'd probably be up there with your Everton's, your West Ham's, and Tottenham's round that top 6 place. So I think that'll be the aim next season, top 6. If they fall short of that 7th, 8th, it all depends on how they progressed. Can supporters see they've kicked on well and they've been unlucky? Could they go and win the FA Cup perhaps? There's a lot of options, but for me, the aim, don't just curtail it, just go for the top 6. Aim for that and see where they are. And this summer we'll point towards what they actually are going to do in the transfer market.
Yeah, it's hard to say until that transfer business has been done. We'll talk about Jack Grealish in a minute. I don't think he'll be leaving, but if he did, that will also affect things. On the flip side of that, what would count as a failure then? Would it just not be? Like say they finished 7th, and that was an improvement on this year. Would that be failure because it wasn't top 6?
No, not for me. It's all about performances, isn't it? If we see Villa regressing and dipping off their standards of set this season, then questions are going to be asked. The owners are going to ask questions. They're going to say, we spent 300 to 400 million pound there. We ain't seen nothing for our return. So just got to show progression like they did this season. I think it's been an outstanding season all round for me. Okay, I've had a bit of a sticky patch last few weeks, last few months, but overall it's been fantastic. And top half finish this season should be the aim, and there we go from there. So it shouldn't be all or nothing kind of thing. I think the supporters need to see a progression and an improvement and a bit more consistency. That'd be one thing.
Yeah. There's the results of that poll, 55% of 3,500 said top 8 should be the aim for next season. And there was a few replies to that saying that wasn't ambitious enough and that if it's not top 6, it is a failure because you've got to break into that European elite as soon as possible because you're at the risk of then losing your star players. But I just don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? I think if you finish top 8 next season after finishing 12th or something this year, to then say that was a failure because you haven't broken the top 6 is difficult. Like you look at Wolves this year, they've not been anywhere near it because they lost Jimenez, one of their best players.
Exactly.
Would you then class Wolves as a failure because they've not made it into Europe again? You wouldn't, would you? Because it's a long building process, and I think Villa are probably looking at Europe in the next 2 or 3 seasons rather than this season or next. 100%. Whether that's enough to hold on to your best players is another matter, isn't it?
Yeah, they'll be sitting there with the best players, like you say, like they did last summer, and they've tied them all down to long-term contracts. So they must. With the discussions with Johan Langer, Purslow and Smith, they must believe in something there. They must have sold on the project. As we contact Mings, McGinn, Target, Grealish last September. So they all believe they're all going in the right direction, aren't they? So they've been told what the aims are at the football club, and Dees, we spoke about himself, it's Champions League in the future. So they'll be building towards that, and they've got to show it again next season that they mean business.
Let's talk about Grealish very quickly. His agent this week has been doing interviews. He's a super agent. I've seen quoted that. He's got loads of people on his book, so it's not like just Jack Grealish is his only client. He says that many clubs are interested in signing the Aston Villa star, but Man United are not top of that list, and he could stay at Villa. Lots of quotes going on there. Lots of I think it was like a 10-second clip. It was like, Man United aren't interested and he might stay at Villa. And that's been blown up into, Grealish, he wants to get out. He's not happy. He's not playing for 20-odd games because he's preparing a move to Man City and all this nonsense that comes out. Any chance of Villa losing their star man this summer, do you think?
No chance. Not for me. No chance whatsoever. So that's not on the agenda at all. It has been in previous seasons, hasn't it, Dan? Because obviously Villa have been battling relegation last season, and if that did happen, then you wouldn't be a Villa player now. I think everyone knows that, but they've kicked on. They've proved to him that this is the club to be at. You look at Watkins, he's an England international now. You've got Target, Cash knocking on the door, Konsa. It's a good place to come and play your football. Look at the Villa Park to play your games there. Bodymoor Heath has had a massive revamp. Just a nice place to be. The squad itself, young lads, hungry lads, wanting to get better, and it's just a vibrant place to be, like you say. And they have the crackers in the interview with Ezri Konsa on YouTube the other week. He said, "Listen, the banter's flying there. Everyone's loving playing for Villa, and it's all coming together on the pitch. So just a bit more consistent next season, and everyone's got the same goals. Want to keep improving and knocking on the European door. So I think Jack could be a big part of that next season, for sure."
Yeah, a serious counterpoint to that, because we kind of laughed off the fact of Jack leaving. If Villa are struggling next season, I think we've got him for next season guaranteed. I don't think you finish. I don't think you make the improvement that Villa have. And I think if Grealish, like you said, if he was still available, Villa probably would have been on the door of Europe this season. I don't think you go from that. If then next season he's struggling, you can't expect him to stay forever. No. I mean, he could, but players have got ambitions as much as he's a big Villa fan. If someone says you could come win trophies with us, Villa have struggled or they've been relegated, God forbid, then that's fair enough. But if Villa are knocking on the door for Europe themselves, there's no reason for Jack to go anywhere else. I've seen on Twitter today Arsenal fans saying, we'll go all out for Jack Grealish and sign for Arsenal. Not even in Europe. No. Why would you go to Arsenal? Why would you pick Arsenal over Villa if he's a boyhood Villa fan, which he is? Villa are on the up, Arsenal are stagnating or on the decline. You wouldn't pick Arsenal if you're going to leave Villa. If you leave Villa, you're going to Man City or Liverpool or Man United. And those clubs aren't going to come in, probably thanks to the pandemic as well, with the way the finances are, because no one's going to come and give Villa 100 million plus, which is what we value them at. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a non-story. Yeah,
it's not for sale, totally not for sale. Move on from that one. I just hope he has a good Euros.
Yeah.
He's going to miss a third of the season. That's massive, that is, for Villa. A third of the season, 12 games, could be 13 if he misses Everton on Thursday. And I bet he just wants to play a full season, 38 games in the tank, and I think his numbers will be pretty scary.
Yeah.
Goals, assists, chances created. He's top of them still at the moment. Chances created, he's right up there. I think in the Sky Sports News graphic, he's won 100 fouls this season, and he's top of the shop still. So he's missed a third of the season.
So. Yeah, I saw a stat that still had him top or in the top field, like chances created or something. So he's missed the last 13 games.
I bet he's gutted to be missing out lately. I bet he's champing at the bit to get back. 4 games left, and hopefully get some match minutes in the tank, and all points to a successful summer where he's hopefully the England hero.
Yeah, let's go through some of these questions then. There's a few people on Facebook that I'm trying to stick mostly for Twitter because we don't give Twitter much attention. I've asked a question, so I've got to use them. But one of the common ones is, when's Jack back? Is there any further update since the last one?
Press conference tomorrow, guys. So tomorrow morning, Dean Smith will have his briefing. Obviously, he said about Jack on Saturday. He trained on Saturday, last Saturday. Scored a hat-trick in the small-sided game. Back playing with a smile on his face. So they're managing that quite cutely, as it were. They rushed him back against Fulham, they said. Well, before Fulham, April 4th. They tried to rush him back. They did a snazzy little video, didn't they? Jack Grealish back on the grass. He's back. But he pulled up 10 minutes into training before the Fulham game. So they're going to take the time with him. No rush. Villa aren't really in a need to rush him back. So I think he's probably back for the Palace game on Sunday. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow, though. Smith could chuck him in for Everton on Thursday.
Do you think? I think we spoke about this the last time he was injured before he was rushed back, and we said, will he come back in and start straight away, and that'll be it, or will he come back and have 10 minutes off the bench or something?
Yeah, I mean, Everton Thursday, Palace Sunday. It's a quick turnaround in games, that is. So I think if he comes back, I think he starts. He's fit enough to start. He's going to sit on the bench. He ain't sitting on the bench. You've seen that when he come off before. That photo of him on the bench before. I remember that. But I think if he comes back, he starts. Why not?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because part of me thinks, if he's your best player, if he's fit, he starts. But then if it was a normal injury, we haven't just thrown Wesley straight in, have we? You exactly. Have to drip feed them minutes. So if he's fit-ish for Everton, I'd give him 10 minutes off the bench against Everton and then start against Palace. Surely that's the definition of not rushing him back, isn't it? Yeah,
we'll see. That could be the plan.
Go through some more questions. Rich says, how many transfer windows do you think before Villa have a true top 4 level squad when there is a decent quality cover for every single position? How far away from a big squad are we? Because you look at the big clubs and past their first 11, a lot of those players that are on the bench would get into the other 14 clubs quite comfortably. So how far away are Villa from a top 4? I'd say top 6. That's more realistic, isn't it?
Well, it's got to be. I'm tempted to say, I believe in the squad. I do, based on obviously this is their first season. A lot of the players' first season. I think it could just be 2. I think this summer huge. This summer could say a lot about where Villa are going. Obviously, they stayed up last season. They've knocked on the door this season. Next season could be the one. This summer in January, I know Villa don't like to do business in January, but I think this summer window and possibly next summer. So 2 summers after that, I think you'll have a mint squad there, ready to challenge where they want to be in the top 4. So 2 summers, I'd say that's a fair comment.
Part of me feels like it'll take a little bit longer for that for some reason, just because I feel like we've been, I want to say, lucky with transfers. That I'm trying to cast my mind back, and since Smith's been there, maybe it's not luck, maybe they've bought correctly. Yeah. There hasn't been any transfer that's failed, I don't think, unless there's somebody blaringly obvious. Even like the fringe players, all right, fair enough. But like even the fringe players like an El Ghazi or Traore, yes, they're not world beaters, but they've contributed enough during their time at Villa that have kept them at this level. Whether they're good enough for the next step to get into Europe is another matter. But I don't think there's any. I mean, Wesley maybe, but he's been injured, so that's unfair to say he's not worked out. But the rest of them, Martinez, Cash, Konsa, Mings, all these guys have come in and succeeded for Villa. So at some point, I feel like it's going to go wrong because that's classic Villa. So it might take longer than we think.
They've really revamped the recruitment side of things. They've got loads of scouts. They've got those head of recruitment there, Rob McKenzie as well. They're really behind the scenes. A lot's going on. A lot of plates are spinning. So they're getting the house in order in that sense. Johan Langer, the sporting director, is big on stats and data, player data. So it's all there. I mean, there's plenty of irons in the fire. So I think they'll be clever about it.
Yeah,
and hopefully the players that have already signed you, Bertrand Traore, your Morgan Santons, they can kick on next season.
Will says, in the last 5 games, I don't know whether this stat's correct, but I'm just going to assume it is. In the last 5 games, we've taken the lead 1-0. However, we've only picked up 4 points. How much of a concern is this, seeing that earlier on in the season we were confident when we went 1-0 up ahead?
Yeah.
It's a worry.
It's become a bit of a habit, blowing leads, as it were. I don't know what to make of that, really. Obviously, I mean, you're missing Grealish, aren't you? He's your ball carrier. He relieves a lot of pressure. He wins your free kicks high up the pitch, which stops the counter attacks. But yeah, it's just been a running theme. Can't quite put your finger on it. I think Smith will be wanting to do put his finger on it in the team debriefs. But yeah, it's happening a lot of late. It happened at West Brom, even at Everton. Calvert-Lewin equalised. Obviously, Man U just gone. Blowing leads have become a bit of a recurring theme, but if you're not scoring more than one goal, you're not on the front foot throughout, you're going to get picked back, aren't you? More often than not. So Villa needs to start scoring more freely. They haven't had much chances of late. They should have scored 3 or 4 in the first half at Everton, don't forget.
Yeah.
Pickford had a worldie, but yeah, I think they need to be more ruthless in front of goal. Go 2-3 ahead like they did at the start of the season, and then the results will come.
Back to McGinn and Louise that we spoke about earlier. There's a question from Elliot. He says it's more hypothetical than anything, but say only one of those can be in that midfield starting 11 next year. Which one do you keep? Which one do you build that new midfield around? Louise or McGinn, given that each selection drastically changes the direction of our style going forward. Louise more technically gifted, whereas McGinn often sets the tempo. If you only pick one, who goes in?
I'd lock half and half. I'd lock a bit of both of them. If you mesh them into one player. They both bring something so differently. Obviously, I was pleased with McGinn in the first half on Sunday. Was it old school McGinn, the one we like to see? I think I tweeted saying if fans were there on Sunday, they'd have given him would have got the supporters out of the seats because he was pressing them, he was forcing United into errors, and it was the McGinn of old. So I haven't seen that too many times this season. Obviously, he's playing a lot deeper. He scores for fun for Scotland, playing higher up as a 10. He's done that a couple of times this season. If I was choosing one, I can't, Dan. I'm sitting on the fence. I like Douglas Luiz. I think there's a lot to come from him still. Tough one. If that was down to Smith, I think he'd choose McGinn every day of the week. I think he's a player who Smith just loves and trusts. So I think it'd be McGinn, mate.
Yeah, I don't know if I've got an answer for that. That's a very difficult question from Elliot. I think that was. Where was the inspiration for the high performance centre taken from, and how does it compare to Man City, United, Arsenal, etc.? It does look very good. Yeah, I asked Dean about this last week for a bit more on it, and he said as soon as Wes Edens and Nassef Suarez come to Bodymoor Heath, I said we need a bigger gym. I love that. Obviously, Wes Edens is co-owner of the Milwaukee Bucks, the NBA side, successful NBA side, and Dean Smith's flew over to Milwaukee a couple of times to see Wes, and I think their basketball coach is called Dean Smith as well. Yeah. That's right. Well, on our image library, when I search Dean Smith, I'll get a basketball coach come up. I don't know whether it's their side, but they're often confusing me. I'm like, why is it showing basketball photos? And then I'll go through and say, their coach is called Dean Smith. I don't know whether it's them though. But anyway, so Dean Smith's been over to see Wes and how the books work, and a lot of fans will know that American sport, a big emphasis is on physicality, and you've seen the NFL sides in the huge gyms they have, and just bulking them up, to be fair, and building fitter, faster, stronger athletes, and that's the key emphasis out in America. And obviously in the summer of 2019 out in Minnesota, Dean Smith and the squad visited the Minnesota Vikings' performance centre as well, and they took some inspiration from that before the work started. So they've got a bit Americanized in that sense, and with the new high performance centre. And quite a funny story Smith told me. He said when Wesley signed last summer, he said he walked into the gym, the old gym. He said, where's the first team gym? He goes, you're standing in it, Wes? It was that tiny. It was just a small, dingy little gym. And so as soon as they arrived, the owners, to be fair, 2018, they said, we need to build a new gym. So that's where the inspiration come from. And I think that'd be a massive part of next season. That'd be the hub of the pre-season. A lot of work will be going there. So that's massive moving forward. How does it compare? I think it puts Villa right up there in the Premier League in terms of facilities. Leicester's is pretty magnificent, to be honest, and it's a whole new. It's like knocking down Bodymoor Heath and starting again. Leicester have got a whole new facility. It's like a 7-star hotel they've got. But Villa, Christian Perslow said it himself, one of the best facilities in the UK now. So that bodes well for Villa next season and moving forward for sure. Yeah, it shows how much of a like a poor 10, 15 years ish it's been, because for a long time we'd have said that Bodymoor Heath was state of the art facility when it was done up in 2006, 7, whenever it was when Randy Lerner did it, and you kind of get stuck in your ways of thinking that, well, Bodymoor Heath's still a nice place, but then you see what all the big 6 or big 8 clubs have done in the last 10 years, and Villa have been left behind really. So the fact that they've done this and have got plans to do more stuff, and they had the little like, under 23 stand putting in there and all the new pitches and stuff. Villa Bodymoor Heath is now more state of the art than it was, because you just said it for a long time. Oh yeah, Bodymoor Heath, good facility, but was it really compared to the rest of the Premier League?
You got to keep evolving.
It was good 15 years ago, but it's not been done since then.
That's why Man United fans are not at the moment, because they're not happy with Old Trafford. The Glazers haven't really done anything to it since they bought the club. So whereas you look at Villa, Bodymoor Heath, they changed to Villa Park. They've already put planning permission in to knock down parts of the North Stand. So they're evolving. They're moving forward, forward-thinking owners, and as Dean Smith said this week, they're the real deal. So I think there's a lot to get excited about. We're in fantastic hands with Wes and Nassef, and it just bodes really well. So I can't speak highly enough of that.
You mentioned stadium redevelopment there. We did a post on Facebook and Twitter yesterday of a mock-up artist design of Villa Park and how it would look if it was redeveloped. When I watched it back for a second time, they basically just copy and pasted the whole image on the other side. But still, it looked nice. What are the plans? Just an update on plans, because I know that it's been in the talk in the works for a long time, and you maybe have to get promoted before we can look at it, and financial stability, and then the pandemic hit and all the rest of it. What are the plans for Villa Park if it's to get done? And is there any kind of time frame on when we're looking at this maybe happening?
I look at this weekly, to be fair. I'll check into the Birmingham City Council planning portal, have a little look. But nothing's changed since they've got a planning application to knock down the current Villa store, the current ticket office, and the family fun zone, which supporters will be familiar with. Mm-hmm. So they've got permission to knock down all that, so to make the back of the North Stand an open space for them to develop and build the plans around that. They need to spend a lot of money with the North Stand boxes, the gas lamp lounge. I don't know if you've been, but it's really impressive in there now. So they've done all that out corporate-wise, but in terms of the plans itself, they've got the green light to demolish and just flatten everything outside of the North Stand, and then they'll go from there. So, like I said, a lot of fans have said fill in the corners, but I think that'll be the stand. That'll be the stand that will be developed. Obviously, when the finance is released, the club announced that they're going to redevelop the stadium. So I think it all points to the North Stand. How they'll do that, not quite sure yet. Planning permission hasn't gone in, but in terms of time frame as well, that demolition work went in just as the pandemic hit last season. So they've had to put that on hold, obviously for obvious reasons, and they'll probably have a sit down in the summer and plan out from there. So yeah, bodes well. Same with the inner city academy we've spoken about before for the academy side of things, just on Brookvale Road. That's waiting to go through. That will go through, and building work will start. Probably you could say this summer. So yeah, exciting future in that sense, Dan.
If you could kind of click your fingers and do what you want with Villa Park, what would you have done to it?
Interesting. I think it needs more. Mention the hotel, the museum. I think there needs more to do there. To be honest, they need to make it a place you come and spend all day. You know what I mean? You spend your money all day down there. They could do a few nice new bars and stuff like that. Not knocking the places around there, but it needs more down there. If you know what I mean, you got families coming from afar, from abroad. They probably end up going into town, Birmingham, for you know what I mean, to kill time and stuff like that. There's nothing really to do around there, so it needs a whole new redevelopment. In terms of the stand itself, I mean, as everyone knows, the GREALISH'S is quite cramped as well in the concourse. I think that what I'd do, I'd probably try and fill in the corners. Yeah, I don't like the word bowl, but I'd try and make it.
So, yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think I would want to fill in the corners. This is this is the biggest debate I've seen on Twitter since we posted that clip. Yeah, definitely wouldn't want it like a bowl like the Etihad or the Emirates. No way. Never want to see Villa Park turned into something like that, and I don't think we would. Whole end has to stay as it is. North Stand, knock the whole thing down and restart it. But I like that the sides are all separate. I like the kind of box look. People are saying you could fill in Trinity, Doug Ellis and the new North Stand, whatever you want to call that, as like a bit of an arch or whatever, and then leave the whole end separate. Even that though, I don't know. I just like the look of it all being separate. Is my personal opinion. I'm not massively bothered what they do around it in terms of a museum and bigger club shop, and I saw someone say like underground parking and all this kind of stuff. That kind of stuff. Not really that bothered. Just don't touch the whole end unless you're going to make it bigger, and don't make it look like a generic lifeless bowl. The rest of it, they can do what they like, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, totally. It'd be interesting to see what they do with it. To be fair, I don't know. Yeah, I'd fill in the corners. I'd try and make the ground louder as well in that sense. And like you say, don't want to touch the old end. That'll be the jewel in the crown, as it were. And it'd be interesting to see what they do. I don't know. Would they have a 3-tier stand there? I don't know. It'd be interesting. Yeah,
someone's saying that the Bowl Stadium gets you more fans, but I don't know. It just makes I like Villa Park. It's traditional, isn't it? And I'm saying like this like 80-year-old that's been there when it's since it was first built. I haven't, but I've only known Villa Park as it is, and you see these classic grounds ripped down, and you get this lifeless generic circle that they all look the same but in a different colour. I don't want to see a circular Villa Park in claret and blue like the Olympic Stadium. It looked like West Ham's one to me. Do you know what I mean? Like I want Villa Park to look like Villa Park as it is. Just make it bigger if you can.
Liverpool have done one stand, haven't we? Spoke about that before. Just doing one stand. Yeah. About Doug Ellis as well could have an L shape there. Doug Ellis and North.
Yeah, like connected. Would you, just on the ground quickly, I mean, we're getting a bit into hypothetical here, and we're going to talk about concept kits in a moment, and we will come back to football before we end. Would you rename any of it? Would you have it? I know that there was a talk, wasn't there, at one point about renaming Villa Park, as in like like the Emirates having it as like named after a brand. I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't want it to be something Villa Park. I wouldn't like that either. But stands, Ron Saunders' stand was mooted.
Yeah, it'd be a nice touch, because obviously it's 40 years next season for the European Cup success, and he played a big part in that. He was winning the league as well the year before. So Ron Saunders' stand, I'm all for that, totally.
Yeah. We'll talk about kits while we're still here. Kit for next season, is there any details on that? It's usually the start of time when you start to see leaks and concepts and all this kind of stuff. Is anything out with the kit? Are we still with Kappa? Yeah,
Kappa. One more year of Kappa. And Kazoo again, I think. Kazoo signed another deal as well. So as you were, there'll be tweaks to it, but one more season left with Kappa, and then it'll be a new brand. So obviously Nasasaurus he has links with Adidas, doesn't he? So it could be Adidas next after that. I don't know, but yeah, it'll be Kappa once again. I think the kits will be released much earlier this season, because Villa know what they've got, know what they're working with. So I think an announcement could be soon. A lot of teams do before wear the kits on the final game of the season, don't they? A lot of the time. But I think early summer, I think we'll start to see the kits released, and they'll want another big flurry of sales, won't they? I know supporters have been happy with some of the issues regarding the kits, but hopefully they'll be ironed out. There's an AGM meeting on the 20th of May, so the details could be announced then.
Yeah, just more stock is my only complaint, really. There's the stuff that I've liked this season, either in kits or training wear, and they just don't have it in the sizes that you want for long enough. Yeah. That's the biggest problem. All the designs have been pretty good. Yeah. In terms of like a classic Villa kit that you'd like to see, any like homages back to old kits, if you could design a Villa kit, what would you go with? Put you on the spot there.
Like a white away one. White away one.
Yeah,
like a white away one. I like the old Umbro one. I do like Umbro gear. They do some nice classic style kits. West Ham's is nice, and they do a good job of Burnley's as well. But yeah, Villa away kit for me is white. I like that aspect. In terms of home, round neck, I don't know, but everyone likes that Luke kit, don't they? V-neck, that was lovely. Just something nice on the eye, and yeah, I'm not too fussed really. To be fair, this season kit, I prefer the black one over them all, to be fair, but they do a good job generally.
Yeah, as long as it's claret and blue with Premier League patches on the side, that's the main thing. I wouldn't be surprised for a white away kit next season, though, with it being the anniversary of the 1982. I think it'll be like a modernised version of that. You know, like the Macron one from a few years ago with the claret pinstripes. I think it'll be like that, but better, hopefully, because that wasn't great. Back to football. There's a few comments actually on Facebook asking about Jack Grealish's injury. can you just explain and give a bit of clarity on what it is, what's wrong with him, and why he's kind of regressed back to being injured after coming back?
Yeah, these was called a loading injury, which basically means he's been putting too much. He's been playing too much, basically, and he's been putting too much pressure on his shin muscle, as it were, and it's broken down on him. So he's just building that muscle up. But by the shin bone, I'm not a physio or anything like that. It's just been like a bruising feeling kind of thing, and he's had to build that strength back up in his shin and his leg muscle. So probably just doing a bit too much, running a bit too hard. But he's done that throughout the season. He's got him the numbers he has. So we've had to take his time with it. People said shin splints. Obviously, that's not the case. So he had a shin injury before, didn't he, when he come back in the championship years? But hopefully it's behind him now and he's back and ready to go this week, finally. But yeah, we're going to have to take the time with it. We don't want to rush him back and make it worse. He's got his England prospects to look forward to. I know Villa comes first, but you don't want him breaking down and being out for longer than he has. The only issue is perhaps should Smith have opened up about it a bit more and gone into a bit more detail, but he didn't want to do that because he wanted to keep the opposition thinking, I guess, without Grealish. So we are where we are, and hopefully he's back now.
Talk to me about FFP a little bit and the summer spending. I had a couple of questions on this from Twitter saying how much can we spend in the summer, what positions do we need to strengthen, how much will we spend? If you could kind of give a summary, because I want to wrap up to a certain extent, a summary of what you think we need to do in the summer, how much do you think we'll spend, and what can they actually do in terms of FFP, and kind of clarify the rules on that, because there's been some changes made, hasn't there, to the rules, I think. Yeah,
let's have a good look over these as well. But Villa are debt-free. I reported couple of weeks ago now that the owners are putting another £20 million into the club's kitty, as it were, via a shares issue. So the club, they're not in debt. A lot of the Premier League clubs and the big European clubs are in debt. Villa aren't in debt. They're self-sufficient. And I think it points towards, if Villa want to kick on, £100 million summer window. That's your ballpark for me. They spent 150 in the first window, 105 last summer. I think it points to the same again. It's got to. I think if you have aspirations of making that gap up to the top six, I think that's what you need to spend. You've seen Tammy Abraham build at £40 million. So £40 million players. Well, that's supporters this. Can you see Villa breaking Ollie Watkins' £33 million record? I can. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I asked him if will Villa go big this summer. He said, no, not necessarily. So we'll see. But I mean, a lot of players this year, I think Watkins will be 10 times a player next season. Same with Cash and the other lads that joined as well. So there's a whole new scouting department in there. So they're looking to cherry pick little gems. Obviously, Rob McKenzie, he plucked Riyad Mahrez from Le Havre for £500,000. Look where he is now. I think he's behind the Kante deal to Leicester as well. So they've got the experts in. You know, Lang knows a few about spotting a player as well. So yeah, little gems, or they could go massive in terms of what they need. I think just an attacking midfielder for me. I think Ross Barkley probably heads back to Chelsea. I think we need someone to fill his place. I think we need a big caliber player in there, and I think we need a goal scoring winger. Obviously, Trezeguet's out for 9 months. I think we need a real winger who could even rival Grealish. Who knows? To come in and score freely. A lot will be hoped on Bertrand Traore next season. Smith still believes in him. Obviously, we see flashes of it, don't we? That goal against United was unreal. He needs a bit more consistency. So he's still finding his feet in the Premier League after a season. So a lot to hope for him. Do we need a nasty midfielder in there to win the ball back for us? That's a issue for me. We need to look at tall, physical midfielder. Yeah. Something different. And a left back, I think defence is fine for me. I think if Bjorn Engels leaves, I think we need cover. But I think Konsa, Mings, Cash and Target and Martinez, I think they've done all right this season for me. I think it's in front of them that they're going to need to spend the money on.
I said earlier in this podcast about that I don't feel like, apart from Samatta, that they haven't had a transfer fail in the last few years. On the flip side of that, who do you think their best signing has been? And
best signing?
And for what reason are you picking? Are you going to pick the best player, the best value for money, the most improved in terms of value? Who's Villa's best sign, do you think, under Dean Smith?
Ezri Konsa. £12 million. England, future England international. I think we'd be lost without him, to be honest. I believe in that much.
We'd be in serious trouble without him.
He's unreal. So value for money, Konsa, best player, Konsa. I can't rave enough about him. So what is he, 23 still as well? 23, 24. He's at Villa. Is it here to stay at Villa? So he gets more votes. I think Martinez pushes him close. Watkins as well. I think Watkins has done brilliant in his first season in the top flight. So a lot more come with him next season. Make no mistake about it. So yeah, with them three for me.
Final couple of questions. I know these are pretty quick fire. Pre-season. I know you've written an article today about it. Any word on official plans yet? The travel restrictions and that kind of stuff. Yes,
we spoke about it last week, so I just thought I'd delve into them quotes, and he didn't give too much away. He said we've got 3 plans in place: plan A, plan B, plan C. We've got friendlies booked in. Details not confirmed yet though. So just looked into things, and obviously America's off the cards, which is a shame really, because I went to Minnesota a couple of years ago. It was a brilliant trip, and there's loads of Villa fans out stateside, and had a really good time over there. And the conditions were perfect as well. It was red hot, perfect for pre-season training. So. But they won't be going over to America this season, I don't think, based on its amber status currently, and the fact they need to sort visas out in quite a quick time. So that can go to happen. I think Europe, it points to Europe. Again, Villa went to Leipzig for a couple of days after Minnesota, didn't they, in 2019?
Yeah.
Did his last pre-season at Brentford. He went to Bavaria in Germany again. So he likes Germany. So he could point at Germany. I think the bulk of their pre-season, though, Dan, I think it spent over here. Obviously, last summer they stayed in Cardiff, didn't they? They played Bristol City. Had a camp down in South Wales, which was quite good. And I think it'd be similar here, really. And they'll look for a place, UK, for the bulk of the training, and they'll probably jet out to Germany for a couple of matches. And that'll be it, really. But this new performance centre will be the hub of it all as well. They've got lots of analysts on board now, so they'll be building bigger machines, as it were. It's going to be a bit of a workshop for the players over the summer. So, I think it points to Villa running harder than ever before next season, and that bodes well, doesn't it?
Just sparked a random thought there as you're talking about pre-season. What are your how much do you read into pre-season, especially as a journalist when you got to cover these games? Do you think it's better playing games that you expected to win, like lower league sides, where you get your confidence up and play well, or should you be playing against higher level opposition and trying to test yourself, or does pre-season not really matter?
No, it does matter. I think you need a bit of both in there. Obviously, Villa played Minnesota that summer, breezed them. It was a walk in the park, to be fair, 3-0. And that set them up nicely to go to Leipzig. Leipzig, Champions League team, don't forget. So, knocked out, was it this season? They're well in Champions League this season. Villa beat them. Horahan scored. It was Heaton's first appearance, and everyone was getting quite excited, weren't they? The season didn't pan out as it were, but Villa also went to Shrewsbury, Charlton and Warsaw to get the minutes and get the minutes in the tank and get a feel for the football again. So you need a mixed bag, to be fair. You need a good pedigree side who will give you a real challenge. One where you're not going to get much of the possession, and you need other games to play weaker opposition to try some new tactics out, formations, get a feel of the football again, and build some confidence that way. So a bit of both you need.
Final one about the youth players. It's the Youth Cup semi-final against Albion on Friday night, I think it is. Pretty sure it's on BT Sport. It's on
BT
Sky.
Sport,
Yeah, on BT Sport. So fans can watch that. I'll be tuning in because I think that'll be an interesting watch. A couple of questions about the youth setup. I don't know if I can find them quickly. It's kind of the crux of it was, should the players in the Youth Cup or in the under-23s be more involved in the rest of the season's games and getting minutes here and there, or should they be devoted to the Youth Cup and trying to go on to win that? And a follow-up part to that is how many of the youth prospects this season will be involved in the side next season? Yeah,
I think it's a massive game Friday. I think every supporter should tune into that against the Albion as well. Semi-final, really looking for your competition. Lots of Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool win and go big in as well. Villa got a great chance. The other semi-final was Liverpool and Ipswich, I think. So yeah, a big chance for Villa to win this. They've whacked in goals left, right, and centre. Thumped Newcastle 6-1 last time out, and got some real stars there. Chuck Mwika, we've spoken about. He's in with the first team now. He was on the bench on Sunday. Not Philogene, but Louis Barry, he's scoring for fun for them as well. Aaron Ramsey, he was that injured last time. So yeah, it's massive competition, Dan. Villa last won it in 2002 with the Moore brothers. Peter Whittingham, God bless him, he was in the side as well, and they beat Wayne Rooney's Everton over 2 legs. With this one, it's only 1 leg in the final. Should Villa get there, and The final will be at Villa Park if Villa progress. It'd be either, if Albion win, it'll be at the Hawthorns, the final also, hopefully not. So, yeah, I think Villa will go big in it. I don't think the 23s will be a part of Smith's squad on Thursday. I think Neil Taylor will come back in to take their places on the bench. But in terms of this season, I spoke about this last week. I think Ross Barkley's he can't play against Chelsea on the final day of the season. It's your parent club, so perhaps Chuck Mawicker gets some minutes for his Premier League debut against Chelsea on the last day. I think the players, Philogene Bedos has been around the first team for a long time now, so he's knocking on the door. Trezeguet's out injured as well, so there could be an opening for him some minutes off the bench as well. So there's a cluster of them, Dan. It will be a part of the pre-season plans. Spoken about Kane Kessler. He'll be a part of it. Could be the keepers as well. Philip Marshall. Sini Salah in goal as well. And usual suspects. Aaron Ramsey, he was part of the camp in Wales last summer. Chuck Mawicker, we've really got a plan for him. Dean Smith told me. I think really highly of him. He's going to be a first-team player sooner rather than later. Louis Barry, he'll get a look in over the summer as well. He's been scoring freely for the 23s and 18s. So, yeah, I think there's 5, 6 of them who will be looked at. Forgetting players who are still there as well. Dominic Revan, he captained Villa in the FA Cup against Liverpool. His loan move to Weymouth's finished, so he'll be back in for another year. Mungo Bridge as well, left-sided centre-back. He's usually around the first team. He's been out with an injury of late. So there's about 6, 7, 8 young kids who Smith will have a look at in pre-season and look to give them ample opportunity to impress.
Lovely stuff, mate. Thank you very much. That's a nice little roundup there. We've covered absolutely loads in this podcast.
Covered loads, eh?
So thanks to everyone who asked me questions on Twitter. You can follow me at Dan Rolinson. You're at Preece Observer. You can also follow us at Claret Blue Pod. Thanks to the Facebook audience for watching along live as well. We do appreciate it. Not flashed any questions up on screen, but I've kind of tried to word some of those into the questions as well and cover as much as possible. Like I said, Ash, thank you very much for joining me this Tuesday afternoon. It's been a good hour. We'll be back on Thursday evening after the Everton game, and then again on Sunday for Crystal Palace. There's absolutely loads going on. The season's wrapping up, but still loads to talk about. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in a few days' time. Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your feedback. We'll be back soon with another episode, but until then, up the Villa.